Hello and welcome, everyone. I hope all is doing well. This is our first meeting of the 2016 year. And one of the first things I wanted to start off real quickly, and I want to let you know because of our new technology, you all will talk more about that briefly, but I want to let you know that our meeting is recorded. Now, I don't want y'all to get worried or anything with where this recording is going, but it's really for our viewers who are unable to make it. We just want to kind of be with the 21st century, which is technology, online usage. So I just want to remind you, so be thoughtful as you all make comments out there, because please know that it is recorded and it will be broadcasted. The link will be on our Facebook page and folks can view it, so just be mindful of that. So with that being said, what I wanted to do, a lot of you all may not know each one of us. So what I wanted to do is just introduce ourselves. My name is Arthur Reese. I am the president. I live on Withering Way. I've been in this community, I think 13 years. This is my second stint on the board, and thought I was gonna just let it rest and let new folks take on over, but I got called back, if you will, and I'm happy to be here. So, so that's me, Arthur Reese.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Yvonne Lee, and I live on Reflection Creek Drive, and I've been here in Crest for 11 years. And this is my first time on the board, Vice President.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Junior Clark. I live on Reflection Creek Drive. I've been here for 2 years, and it's my first time on the board.
So this is your 2016 Board of Directors. One thing I like to do, which we want to always try to find ways to do it better, but if we could, are there any new residents here? I know there's one, but is there any new residents here tonight? Oh, good too. Would you stand up and tell us your name and what street you stay on?
I've been in the subdivision about a year. This is my first time.
Okay. You say Adrian? Asia. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming out.
Martin, Reflection Creek, 24/6. And this is my first meeting. This is December.
Welcome, everyone. Just to tell you a little bit about this, we meet, I shouldn't say quarterly, but we try to meet 3 to 4 times a year. And I tell you what, actually tonight, this is probably one of the smallest. We usually, folks around you tell you that we usually average anywhere from 30 to 40 to 60 folks at our meeting. I think we are losing the battle with the rain. Also, we're offering a new feature this year. We're offering our meetings online for those who work late, who just cannot get here because they've got to take care of their domestic responsibilities. So we wanted to, the information is more important than physical bodies being here. So so we did offer that feature. So, but thank you, welcome, and we hope to see you again around the neighborhood and at future meetings. Next, what I want to do, I don't see anybody, but for the recording's sake, I would like for you all to give a round of applause for the past board of directors for 2015. They worked hard. It's a very tough job, and they really put in a lot of hard work. And I just want to thank them for their service that they rendered to Dr. Crest. So if you would, please. One of the things I just want to talk about real briefly, and hopefully I won't have to really revisit this, is I want to talk about expectations. One, expectations from us, the board of directors, and then expectations from you guys. So expectations from us. this board has vowed to do is, one, we're going to be very transparent. We want to be more inclusive, although please let you know that the board, you voted the board in to make decisions for the community. You can trust us to make decisions. However, what we've decided, that this board has decided to do, is that as we make decisions that are maybe larger purchases, we might just put it out there just to get your feedback. This is something that's kind of new. We've done it in the past from time to time, but this is something that we want to try to do more of, because again, each and every one of you all pay $500. You have a vested right, vested interest in everything that we do here. And so we just want you all to know what we're doing and how we're doing it. And also the when and where as well. So those are kind of the expectations from that you should expect from us. Also, respect. What you will do is, you'll get from us is that we're going to respect you. Now, we don't necessarily always have to agree. Please understand that we can agree to disagree, but not be disagreeable, okay? So everybody has opinions, and that's fine. And the board may want to do something different than the way you want to do it. But that doesn't mean that we've got to stop being neighborly, stop being lovingly, stop caring for one another, and act rude, and especially for those who bring their children here. We definitely don't want to set an example for them to see that we act like them sometimes as well. You know, that's the reality of it. So again, that is what the expectations from us, and we expect that from you as well. We expect you all to be respectful for one another, respectful for people's comments. Again, you all may not agree with what someone is saying. However, let's be respectful in how we present. We're all adults here, and we're all paying a mortgage, and we all pay HOA fees. So we just appreciate that. I just want to put that out there. Hopefully we won't have to revisit that no more for the rest of the year. So thank you again for that. Okay, moving right along here. Next thing I want to talk about is the technology piece. So that's the kind of the new thing that we're doing. And I tell you what, it's probably something that I've always thought that we could do, whether it be where I was working at or here in the community. So we've got a board member who is extremely tech savvy, and I really appreciate him bringing this to the forefront, and just making all of us remind us that this is the future, and this is the way, whether we like it or not. But I just like that. So with that being said, I'm going to have Junior to come up and go over the technology piece, and then we can answer any questions.
Hello again, guys. So one of the things that was really important to me is we have 339 homes, and potentially every single meeting we have 30, 40, 50, 60 people to turn up, and it's kind of unfortunate that turnout is so low. Especially understanding where everybody needs access to have access to the internet, and you should be able to watch the meetings at your leisure. So one of the things we pushed was, one, let's get everything online, all the board meetings, all our HOA meetings, everything live streamed. So just like if you have the weather, you can actually stream it at home. So that was really important to me. So a lot of work went into actually setting it up. Some things didn't go as smooth as we want, but it's kind of working. So all the videos again are available on YouTube. So if you want to go back home, watch what we said, see exactly, if you want to share it with your friends, share it with your neighbors, please do. The last board of directors meeting we actually had, there were 11 viewers actually watching the live stream. So the board of directors meetings where we actually, as board members, just discuss the upcoming events and how we actually vote. You can see the behind the scenes of actually what happens. That's also available online as well, so you can actually go back and see what we actually discussed. There were, after we actually recorded the video, 40 people actually watched it. If I actually look back at the previous board meetings, the turnout, wasn't as good, but at least, this is actually an improvement over that. If you're not familiar, Facebook, our Facebook page is Crest HOA. Please like it. Please tell your kids to like it. Please tell your neighbors to like it. Please tell everybody to like it. So that's the fastest way to get information out to you. We actually update pictures. We put emergency updates such that the last time we actually had the back gate closed. So we actually was able to actually get a message out relatively quickly and actually keep you updated on why it's closed. If you have any questions, let me know. If something's not working for you, I'm always willing to actually help. I want it to actually go as smoothly as possible. Okay.
I think it was last week. My name is Hank Whitney. I'm on Crest Drive, and I made an attempt to watch it, but what I got was static.
Okay.
It could have been something I did. I don't know. I'm not as well versed on the computer, internet as you are, obviously. Was there something that, because I guess maybe I got wrong information with regards to what was going on, because I assumed that it was a meeting, but it was a board meeting, am I correct? And questions could have been asked at that time, but I just couldn't get into it because I got a lot of static and also still pictures and no voice.
Okay, we can actually talk offline, just for the online viewers and for the record. I'm not sure if people are able to hear. So I'm going to repeat the question, okay? The question was, I actually logged in last time and there was a lot of static. So I'll actually try to figure out with you offline to figure out what actually happened. Just one question, did you try on YouTube or did you try on Google Plus?
No, I didn't try it on YouTube. I went directly to, the link.
Okay.
And it didn't, I couldn't get anything. I just got a picture and a still picture.
I see.
And that was it.
Okay.
Had I gone to YouTube, I have to assume hearing it now that I might have gotten in.
Yes, so there's two options. Google Plus, if you have a Gmail address or some kind of access to one of the Google services, you should be able to. So what I'll do is probably next time I'll probably do a tutorial and send it out. Probably do a presentation, do an e-blast. I'll also put it on Facebook, so if you're having any issues, I'll actually walk through that as well. But thanks for that. Any more questions?
Someone else didn't get in.
I didn't get in. I had the same issue because I went through Google Hangout or something, but YouTube probably would have gotten in.
Gotcha. Just wondering, there's a play button on the picture. Did you see a play button or you did not see it? Okay. I'll do a tutorial for next time. I apologize for that, guys. Any more questions? Oh, the question was somebody else echoed what another person said. So there were at least 3 people had the same issues. So we'll try to solve that for you guys. All right, thank you.
We have a question that's on. Okay, some updates here since our last meeting in October. This board was faced with a couple of decisions that we needed to make pretty swiftly because of the end of the year was approaching. Some contracts were coming up, and we really needed to kind of handle some Fountain Crest business. But one of the first things that came up, a lot of you all in the community, I'm not going to say what the percentage was, but to know as we were looking to get on this board, a lot of people had concerns with the former lawn care service, red leaf. And so people were wondering why there was a switch from red leaf to from Ron Smith to red leaf. And I think the previous board's decision is, was maybe from a financial perspective. But some of your comments were, we wanted the previous lawn care service back. And so as a board, we unanimously voted to make that switch. And I want to be part of this transparency. There was a termination fee of the contract. The contract of Red Leaf was supposed to go through June of this year. So we terminated the contract December. I think there was a $250 termination fee. So yes, that cost us $250. However, Ron Smith knew what we were doing. So what they did was as you see, we change our flowers every season. So what he did was, and you know, his way of thanking us for bringing him back is that he took $250 off from the flowers that he did, our winter flowers, our winter setup that we do. And so that's how we broke even from that standpoint. Now, there was a bid that took place back in June where Red Leaf was awarded because their rate was $75, if you will, to $100 cheaper than Ron Smith. So he came up with a bid, and so we were right around $75 more. However, here's the thing. What we negotiated is that instead of in June trying to renegotiate a contract that could have gone a 2 to 3% increase, what Ron Smith agreed to do was keep it at the rate that he did the bid for back in June 2015. He's keeping that for 18 months. So we're not going to have to do any bid negotiations for our lawn care for 2016. So the next time that we go back to do bids, it will be 2017. So we've got a little break and we don't have to do any back and forth. So our rate does not change essentially from 2015, if you will. So I think that was a pretty good move. So from a financial standpoint, I think that was a good negotiation strategy. From a aesthetic standpoint, I think everyone is pleased. I've had folks come up to me and say they're glad they're back. I mean, here it is, it's just winter, the grass is dead. So people still feel like Ron Smith was the lawn care of choice. And so, you know, the board feels good about the decision, and we hope that everyone else will continue to feel good about our lawn care service. All right. Yes. Question.
Yeah, as far as Ron Smith,
Yes.
I know that you allowed Red Leaf to stay the additional 2 months until December.
31st.
Right. Now, the only question that I have, I'm happy, you know, I'm one of the ones that fought to keep Ron Smith in the first place. But here's my issue. Since they've come back, I'm not seeing any weed treatment, and Red Leaf wasn't doing it because they knew they were on their way out. And up at the front, the crabgrass is really taking hold all around that box, that snap and show box, where the first house, the border between where the common area ends and that first house begins, and all the way up to the front, there are weeds all over the place.
Okay.
So they've got to get on top of it. And I know that they're 2 months behind, but there has been I haven't seen any kind of treatment put out there at all.
Okay, for our online viewers, the question, the concern was that we're glad that we made the switch to Ron Smith Lawn Care. However, from the first house to the communal area near the pool area, right? So there's a lot of crabgrass, weeds, just weeds. So we need to ask Ron Smith to come in and do some maintenance on that. And answer your questions, we will do that. Thank you for that. I missed that going through, so that's something that we will, got it, good, okay, good. Any other questions about that? Okay, great, thanks. We won't spend a lot of time on this next one, but it's, we renewed the contract with Collins Pool. They were operating essentially on a month-to-month basis without a contract. I think their contract ended in June as well last year. Well, they were kind of like not, yeah, I think they were not, the contract ended and we just continued to go with it. I think the board previous board wanted to look at potentially putting some bids out there for new pool maintenance. Again, this board just came in. We really don't see anything that the pool company is doing that has dissatisfied, you all as homeowners and us as a board. So we continue the contract. One of the things that we've done is we've renegotiated our monitor contract. So the pool monitor is the person that comes up to ensure that the appropriate people can come into our pool, okay? And so what we've done is we've kind of looked at optimizing the hours that they're there and some of the kind of the dead hours that are folks that are, when they're not, the pool is not being active. We've kind of decreased those hours. And you ask why? Well, what we're going to do is, again, since I've been here, we haven't done enough for us in the community as homeowners. Okay, so what we've decided to do, and more information will come as we figure this out, because this will be a first for us, but the money that we're going to save, we're looking at saving over $2,500 for the pool monitor. And so what we're looking to do is doing some events for Fountain Crest. So reinvesting those savings. So it's one thing to saving and saving and saving, but we can save, but we can also enjoy. So we're going to take those savings and we're going to reinvest back into Fountain Crest. And so just to put some things out there, some buzzing, we'd like to do something like, maybe, we have a movie on the lawn, but we're looking at maybe having a movie in the pool. And we haven't figured out how we're going to do this, whether we do a movie at the pool for folks that's 10 and under, and then we do another movie for, when I say adults, I don't mean, bad movie. I mean, like it might be a movie with some cussing and stuff in it, that we might not want a 5-year-old, 6-year-old to come. So there's thoughts of that. There's thoughts of during the early mornings on Saturday morning, maybe even Sunday mornings, and we have a lot of folks that are going to LA Fitness. I run into a bunch of you all there every morning, and it'd be nice to maybe even utilize the pool and maybe doing some water aerobics. So we were looking at possibly doing that. Again, that's just reinvesting in us. If there are any suggestions that you all have, thoughts, we are wide open to it. I think the party, people have already mentioned that. I think we've done that. It's been successful in the past. So that's something that we can definitely entertain. But again, just utilizing what we have here and reinvesting in you all. And we'll talk more about that at the May meeting. Yes, Stacey.
Besides monitoring the pool, what are they responsible for, and how often are they really cleaning the pool out? And so that's in the contract as well. I mean, and chemicals and making sure it's clean for us to swim in.
Great question. Yes, that is in their contract. They're responsible for, just from a high level, let me give you, they are responsible for the restrooms. Oh, yeah, let me repeat the question. I'm sorry. For our online viewers, the question was really what essentially the job duties for the pool monitors. So the pool monitors keep the restrooms clean. They keep the pH balanced in the pool, add chemicals or whatever they need to do to keep the pH balanced. They are responsible for ensuring that the folks that are coming in into the pool, that they are on our list of, shouldn't say approved, but are able to come in because they have paid their assessment fees. So they do that as well. So that's from a high level what they do. And then if any challenges or troubles that come up to the pool, they're responsible for calling 911 and making sure that Rockdale Sheriff's Department come up there to mitigate any issues that we have.
So there's cameras too. So
there are cameras there, and Sheriff's Department has used that. Now, that's something that you brought up that we'll discuss later on in the meeting. But we might look at possibly upgrading our cameras. I don't know what level of upgrade we need, but again, we do have it. I don't know, maybe one of the representatives from the Sheriff's Department can talk. I don't know too many communities that have cameras like we do. So I'd be pretty interested to know that, but we do have it, and it has been a help in the past for them, and so we do have that as well. Now, they don't have access to that, only us, only the board has access, and Rhonda has access as our property manager.
Thank you.
Good. Any other questions? Okay, also to add to that, we got some service techs that come over. They come over twice a week. During the summers, yeah. And then they also maintain our fountain. That fountain is actually considered a pool. So they actually, they maintain the pool as well. And let's see, the monitor sign people in, they replenish the supplies, and they skim the pool. So they keep it clean, leaves and stuff like that fall in there. They're responsible for that. Okay. Any other questions? Good. Holiday decorations. Linda Martin is not here tonight, but for the record or online, can you all give Linda Martin and the folks that came out to her that helped her decorate for our Christmas decorations? Can you just give her a hand? It was a phenomenal job. I think before the meeting started, we had a scroll so you could see some of the lights if you forgot what they were, but she had a committee. I know Stacy was one of the ones that came out. I don't know anyone else who came out, but I know it's a few people that came out. Junior, well, I know our board, but other homeowners that came out to help Linda. But she did a phenomenal job. We got the fountain even decorated a little bit more. We had a little bit of challenges at one time around the fountain. Snap shows had to come to do something. I don't know. It wasn't nothing we did, but it was just something that needed to be fixed. And so the fountain, the pool, the decorations around the fountain were down for about a week or so, almost 2 weeks. But we really like it. We like your feedback to see if it was just enough. If there's anything else you'd like to see, she brought those angels out a little bit on Highway 20. To be honest with you, I was concerned that some of your neighborly friends were gonna come by and lift it up for us, but maybe that angel saved us. I don't know, So, but it was good to know that the angel stayed there all during the holidays. So, next, some of you all noticed, and maybe some of you all. Okay, there we go. And maybe some of you all haven't noticed. You got questions?
Just a question before you get a little bit
Okay.
further up the line. Back to as far as the Ron
Smith, yes.
There was a tree that was cut down covering the pool.
Okay, I was just about to talk about that. Okay, all right. Okay, so what we did, like I said, some of you all may have noticed, that comment for our online viewers was about the trees, so we're about to actually discuss that. But, the board, we had just been sitting around talking, and we talked to Shane Collins from the pool, and, just my previous experience, Yolanda, we've been on the board, and we've had many issues with the family, okay? And one day we were just talking to Shane, and we said, Shane, what if it's just the saplings or the stuff, the pine needles coming from the trees? So, well, Arthur, you know what? I'm never going to recommend that because, we've got tree huggers in the community, but he said, it would be nice for you to cut that tree down, that would probably save on some of your maintenance repairs for the fountain. So what we did was we cut 2 trees down. So here's the thing, when Ryland built this community, I think for any builder, when they build a community, they're marketing it for you to come in and say, wow, that looks good, and you come in and buy a home. They're in the business of selling homes. Now, as far as usage and making functional, They don't really care about that because once they sell these houses, they're gone. So what we have to do is the people that are here, once we kind of are all out, and now we're paying these bills, it's like, okay, now we need functionality here. So we made a decision to cut down the 2 trees, and so it looks a little, I guess, spacey by the fountain. You know, if I heard someone sent a message to us and said, "Oh my gosh, they're cutting trees down," and you know, I'm not a real nature guy, but I do respect those who are nature folks, and so I understand that there was a concern, but from a financial standpoint, we're hoping that the return will be that there be less maintenance on the fountain, and we can enjoy our fountain shooting up like it's supposed to be appropriately. So that's what we're hoping for. We also, if you ride by the tennis court, you'll notice some black saplings in the back part of the tennis court. It looks really, really bad. Well, we had 4 trees that produces this sap, and the sap comes down and it gets caught up. Now, if you go ride by Parker Road, you don't see any trees around the tennis court. Matter of fact, you can go by any tennis court and you won't see any trees or any shrubbery around. Because again, that's not why the tennis court can't function like that with all that debris and stuff around. So again, Ryland wanted you to come in and put the trees around and it looked really nice. And we were, oh, that looks good. But from a functionality standpoint, someone can get really, really, really hurt from a safety standpoint, can get really hurt down there on that tennis court. I'm one of the ones that actually slid all the way across and almost failed. So it's very hazardous, and so we cut down 4 trees there. Then there were 2 trees by the pool that constantly, that the pool monitors were skimming, getting those pine needles out. So we cut those 2 trees. Now some of you may not even notice, which is good, that's fine. But what we're hoping in return that there'll be kind of a less maintenance and it won't cost us that much from a maintenance standpoint. And again, we can utilize that money elsewhere. So we still think that the tennis court is going to look good after I talk to you about the next project. But we think the fountain's going to be fine. If you all feel like there's some other things, like there's some green thumbs here who really knows about planting and aesthetics and stuff that won't fall in the fountain, we are wide open to ideas and suggestions of things that you want to plant, you know, that you think that we all can go look into, okay? So I don't want you to think that we cut it down and that's it. I mean, I'm fine with leaving the way it is, but if there's some folks out there that think that we can do something else, I don't know, what's the tree that we have already on there, the fountain that we cut down? Not weeping willows, the other one. Crepe myrtle. So we already have 2. So we already have 2. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we got 2 still there. So hopefully in the spring, maybe, you know, we'll see. But again, those big trees were the ones that were causing the problem. Those are the ones that we
Excuse me.
Yes.
The crepe myrtle was one I was talking about. It's at the corner of the pool. And it's sort of like gives you sort of like a shelter where everybody don't see exactly what's going on in the pool. But it's before you get to the first house on the right-hand side, corner of the fence.
Okay.
Looks like there's a tree missing. Crepe myrtle.
Okay. You saying you think it could?
So when you start going up the hill to the street, there's a tree that looks like it was missing there.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, the tree that they cut down, it wasn't a crepe myrtle, it was one of those weeping willow trees. And it was, if you're standing at the pool at the front near the gate and looking across like that house over there, the tree, one was on the right-hand side of the gate, on the other side where the playground is, but not right by the playground. It was kind of closer up and it was on the hill. So that was one. And the other tree is what was right, if you look at that house, if you go to the right of the house, it was right there on the edge. So nothing to the left, it was all to the right. So, but here's, if you're suggesting that we can look at putting some crepe myrtle.
My example, standing at the gate, facing the pool, to the left side, as you're going up the road. There's that corner before you go towards the house.
Okay,
It looked like there's a tree missing.
Okay.
A crepe myrtle.
okay, we'll look at that. For our online viewers, it just, one of the homeowners was saying that, it looks like a crepe myrtle has been cut down, near the pool, and we'll look into that. And if there's a suggestion to put, some crepe myrtles there, again, I didn't know that it caused that kind of trouble. I'm not really into that, but if it's something that we can look at doing it and it aesthetically looks good and it gives a little privacy, it doesn't cause any problem with leaves coming into the pool, again, we're wide open to that, whatever's gonna make it look good without causing any maintenance issues and stuff. So thank you for that. We will look into that. So, yeah. Okay, see, Mary Ann Florence. She had a question. When will they fix the cleaning sign? The leaning sign between Brisbane and Riverton. Okay, so Rhonda has called into, our property manager has called into the county, the sign office, and submitted a work order. Any homeowner can call in. So anytime, let me put this out here. And I think it's good for us to know, our property manager's responsibility is to really take care of, what things that we need here in our home. If we're talking about building some things, that we're talking about just anything aesthetically to our community. I mean, we can go through, but stuff like street signs and stuff like that, I mean, we can do that on our own as a citizen of Rockdale County, okay? So we don't need to save yourself a call by calling Rhonda, call the county. So they can come out and they will take care of those signs. Let me give you another example where you can call Rhonda. If someone put a sign up in the yard advertising something in the yard. Like there is someone in the community, I just saw it yesterday, where I guess they got the roof done, and so they put a roofing sign. So that's totally against our bylaws, and so that's where Rhonda can actually send a letter to our home, okay? But if a light is down, like a light pole in our street, we call Snap and Shows ourselves. That's what we do. Just call Snap and Shows, tell them the address that it's near, and they'll come out. They don't care about is it your house or near your house or anything like that. So you can just do that on your own. Very welcome to do that. And you can call Rhonda, but all you're doing is prolonging it. So it'll be easier for you to make your call yourself, okay? So, but Ms. Florence, we just want to let you know that we have taken care of that, and hopefully they'll get on it. Now, if they haven't done it in the next 2 to 3 weeks, please let me know. Just let me know, and I got some new friends at the county that I'm sure will make sure that it's taken care of. That came from Ms. Florence. Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Florence. Okay, some projects. All right, our tennis court. This is something we kind of talked about in our last meeting, but just want to let you know, for those that don't play tennis or anything like that, that's perfectly fine. However, Rylan was very, very smart in putting that at the front of our community. So even though we may not play tennis, we need to care about it because, again, it makes our community look good, or it can make it look bad, along with the pool. I never go to the pool. However, I care about the pool, and I wanted to continue to look good and for our community. So we are now securing bids. We've actually I just got the last bid the other day, and I already had 2 or 3 people that wanted to kind of be on a committee where we kind of talk through those things. But I can tell you this, that so when me and Yolanda was on the board a couple of years ago, we got a resurface, which cost us about anywhere from $5,000 to $6,000. Now, what resurfacing is basically what they're gonna do is take their top coat up, and then they're gonna come back and they're gonna put it back, of course, and then they'll paint it. Well, 2012 was the first time any maintenance had been done to that court. We can estimate that that court was probably built back in 1999. It's probably the first thing that Riley did first. They built a pool, built a tennis court, and they probably started building homes. So the court is around about 16, 17 years old. The court lasts about 20 years, 20 to 25 years. So we are starting to see major cracks. Now, just like you see in your driveway, when you bought your house, there were no cracks. And over a period of time, you're starting to see cracks. That's going to happen. Earth is moving and shifting, the land is settling, the house is settling, etc. Same thing with the courts, okay? So we are experiencing cracks that are, just from a tennis standard, needs to be repaired, okay? I know we don't have any tournaments over here, but again, we've got people that play and practice, and you don't want those cracks. And if cracks get too bad, it will be time to tear up the entire court and rebuild it, which we will be facing with probably the next 7 to 10 years, which is a $60,000 job. It is going to come, okay? Just right now, it ain't here now, but just know in 7 to 10 years, we will be faced with that. So with this new system that they have to repair cracks, based on the amount of square, we have about 500 feet of cracks, which is about $15 a feet. I've seen all three bids, they are running about the same. So it looks like to repair, this is a ballpark figure. It looks like it's going to be about $16,000 to $18,000 to repair the tennis court, okay? And, give or take another $1,000 add on there to paint the light poles. If you go up to the light poles, they're rusty looking. Put some new scoring. We got some very antiquated scoring pieces down there. So again, that's what we're looking at. And that's one of the projects that this board has already agreed that we're going to move forward with. So what we're going to do is get with the committee. We're going to vet through the pricing, look at kind of go through a series of questions that we may need to ask, and then of course the pricing, and then we'll make a decision. So you will probably start seeing work somewhere, I think they said around the end of March, April timeframe. They need the weather to be consistently over 50 degrees. So if we get into April, we know that it should be for that most part. So that is definitely going to take place. Okay. Any questions? Yes, Dylan.
The warranty that we had with the company that did the resurfacing the last time, that warranty expired without us utilizing it.
Well, yes and no. Let me tell you what I've learned. The question was for our online viewers was the warranty that the service that we used 3 years ago. There was a warranty period. Did we utilize the warranty? Exercise that. So let me tell you how this works. It's very tricky. If you have a crack that's going north-south, if that crack that's going north-south, after they put that system in there, that's what they call it, system to repair it, if we see a hole within that crack, they'll come back and fix that. The system does not stop from the crack going east-west. That's a whole nother crack. And all three, I've talked to all three, and they said there's no tennis company in the world that's going to warranty that. A new crack that goes derivative of the original crack. But within the original crack, if it's cracks again, they will come back and repair. What I don't think we exercised was having the company come back out and walk the courts. So yeah, so if we had some original cracks that messed up, we did take advantage of that.
Right, so So are we using a new company to resurface?
We got 3 new bids. So we got the original company who did it, and then we got 2 new bids for the company.
Okay, and have you considered trying to use that as leverage with the existing company to ask them to take that into consideration, that we had a warranty that we didn't get to take advantage of the pricing?
We have not. We haven't even talked to them. All we did was just receive a bid. And so what we're gonna do is sit down with the committee, and then those things will come up, and then we can actually go back and talk to the company vendors and see what we can come up with. So yes, we will utilize that. That's a good. That's a good point, and for our online viewers, the homeowner would just ask, could we use the company that we previously used? Can we use it as a negotiating tool, because we did an exercise on margin to see if there is some leverage in the cost, reduced cost. Okay, so that's it with the tennis courts. And there'll probably be some other things that we'll look at too around the tennis court, making it look nice. The next thing, lots of questions for me. My email and my phone was blowing up at the first of the year, end of the year, first of the year. A lot of you all were complaining about the streets. Now, those manholes would knock your car out of alignment if you rode over it too fast, but on the good side is it made people slow down, which is something that we definitely need to look at over there in their reflection. But the good thing is that they can't, you know, we made some calls, but I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think it was just timing. They came out, they finished the streets, and they fixed the manholes. Now, my question to them, which was, why was the beginning of the subdivision taken care of? And so if any of you all know anything about working for county government or anything, how it works, is what we call SPLOST money. And that SPLOST money, when they have a certain amount, the projects are starting to get allocated for usage of that money, okay? And so what I understand from the individual that I spoke to is that when they came through, they said that those roads were so old, which makes sense a little bit because those are the original roads for the community. So again, those roads will probably be 17, 18, 19 years old because they were paved when the community opened. So from reflection down, that's kind of the, if you will, that was the second phase. So anybody who lives from reflection all the way on back, that's kind of the second phase, if you will. And so they were able to go in and fix it with those cracks. So you remember a year or so, probably almost 2 years ago, you saw all these little lines in the street. Well, what they were doing was that was like a sealant / primer for the tar that they brought on, that they just recently brought on in December, January. So they said that the main roads, Fall River and Fountain Crest Drive, those streets are too old, and that they need to be, the exact words was, guys, I'm not sure what we're going to do with those streets. And he said he apologized that he doesn't have any more, but he did say this, is that the SPLOST money has already been allocated. So it will probably be another full year before it even gets addressed. So for those who live on Fountain Crest, Fall River, I apologize. I don't know if there's anything we can do, but maybe go to, a board of directors meeting and just, as a community say, look, we want the front of our subdivision taken care of. Martha's Vineyard, yeah. So that's probably something that we will have to do and take to the chairman. This actually might be a good year, it's election year, so maybe this might be a good time for us to show up at a meeting and kind of talk about our requests that we need for that. Okay, so we're going to move on. Sorry, that question, yes.
I just want everybody to know that the manhole covers that got that they were dug up and then the concrete was poured. We need to get some credit to Tim Billups because he stayed on that and he's the one who contacted the Department of Public Works to get that done. The guy who lives on my street on Black Road.
Okay.
So
Ken
You
Bullock,
wanna give him a call?
you said, I'm sorry.
Phillips, Billups.
Okay, Ken Billups, if you're looking at this, we want to thank you for your extensive calls to the county, along with, I'm sure several of us made some calls, but we especially want to thank you. We hope, you know, that's one of the reasons why they're going to speed this process up. Thank you. Okay, good deal. Good deal. Yes.
How was that fencing destroyed at the tennis court?
Okay, the question was, how was the fencing destroyed at the tennis court? I promise you, I think the other day we had a tornado come through here. The winds were so strong that I mean, it was just, my deck stuff was almost turned off my deck, and I'd never experienced that before. But so that morning I went to the gym and I saw the fence. I thought it was the nets at first, but then we walked up to it. When I went to go get a bid, I was meeting the guy the same day to get the bid for him, and he said, wow, that wind last night really took it down. So the fence came down. So it's a two-part process. The fence got put up today, and so we will probably in the next 5 days have the windscreen put back up. So that will be taken care of. But yes, it was no vandalism or anything like that. It was nature. Okay, Junior, we're going to now talk about the next thing that we're going to talk about is probably a subject that needs probably a little bit of attention, which is the HOA dues, which that was a big topic in our October meeting. And so Junior is going to discuss why we decided to keep our dues at $500.
Hello again. All right, so the previous board, just to get get you to the state of the world, the previous board voted to actually reduce the dues back to $400. So when we actually came in, we're faced with the budget to actually look for next year. So we did some math and actually found out we could not actually reduce the dues to $400. So we voted to put it back. Now I want to walk you through a presentation of how we actually went through that logic, so you can actually at least understand that it wasn't just a random or just a at the moment decision. We actually had some thought process. So if there's any questions, there's going to be some data actually shown. If there's any questions, please stop me. I'll actually clarify anything. So I'll start. So the question that really came up a lot is, the subdivision has been around for since 2000, 2002. Can't remember the exact year, but since 2008, we've had a lot of homes being built. It was actually surviving on the amount of homes that were there after the recession, which was about 265 homes in 2008. And then after things started picking up, we have now 339 homes in the subdivision. So therefore, the excess money should be able to cover our expenses and also have enough money to give back a reduction in the dues, right? So we said, okay, that's a reasonable question. So went ahead and looked at our expenses over the past 8 years, okay? So we realized that the expenses for the past 8 years were roughly around $120,000 on average, okay? Small fluctuations, but it's roughly $120,000. To be exact, it's $119,000 and some odd cents. So we said, okay, let's take this $120,000 and let's find out how many homes need to pay their dues on time to be able to break even at that $120,000 expense, right? So we said, okay, let's find out how many homes need to pay. So we said 240 homes need to pay their dues on time in January, February to be able to make our payments on time. We said, okay, fine. If we were to reduce the dues to 400, how many homes need to actually pay their dues? Okay? And we actually found out it was 299 homes. Keep in mind, we have 339 homes in the subdivision. Okay? If I'm going too fast, please stop me and ask me questions. So just keep it in mind, at $500, we need 240 homes to pay $500, and we need 299 homes to actually pay at $400, okay? So then what we did was we said, okay, let's look at the delinquencies and the amount of people who actually paid their dues over the last 8 years. What we noticed was the numbers ranged anywhere from 206, actually the lowest point was 178 homes in 2012 actually paid their dues on time. And unfortunately, everybody else either having hardship or couldn't actually pay, did not pay their dues, right? The delinquency rate to be noticed is in the table at the bottom. I'll go through the delinquencies later on. So nobody, from 2008 all the way till about 2013, we never hit that mark, okay? Then we saw, hey, you know what? 2014, we did hit the mark. 2015, we did hit the mark. But we did not hit the mark for actually to make the line for $400. So that kind of to us said, hey, you know what? We don't even have enough homes in our history or currently to actually reduce the dues to $400. But a question actually hit us. The question was, how are we making our payments from 2008 to 2013 if we didn't actually even meet the threshold to pay our bills for $120,000 per year? So we actually dug a little bit deeper. So we said, okay, let's look at the 120. So you actually see this red bar. It's actually $120,000 is previous years that actually, is what we actually need. So we plotted our income just from those years, and we noticed that income from the dues that are being paid, fluctuates thereabouts, right? So you see, definitely for 2008, 2009, and 2012, we were below the amount. So we're saying to ourselves, this doesn't make sense. So we did a little bit deeper, and we realized we have additional income coming in. So we said, where does Fountain Crest actually get additional income other than the actual, HOA dues that come in? We noticed that the late fees, fines, and interest payments actually, and also the initiation fees when a new home gets sold, an initiation fee gets paid. So we were very dependent on all these fees to make up just to be able to pay our bills on time, right? So a little bit of interesting tidbit. So we said, okay, you know what? It's really good that we actually got that money, or else we would have not been able to pay our dues for the previous time. So I want to take a little bit extra time right now to point out to, thanks to the previous boards, that juggling whatever funds they had at the time, in retrospect, was probably an almost impossible job, because you have to either wait for fees to come in, try to save some money and actually delay a payment, delay fixing issues and maintenance. So I do understand, and actually after researching this, it makes me appreciate what was done before, right? Because the quality of the subdivision was good enough that I was able to move in on the actual limited funds. Okay. Any questions so far? Everybody understands? Okay. So we said, fine, let's go ahead and say we have 339 homes in the subdivision. Let's look at our delinquency and say, hey, you know what? If we were to ever try to even reduce the dues, how many people need to actually pay their dues? What is the target number? Okay. So if you actually see, 2008, we started about 22% delinquency. It goes up to as much as 34% in 2012. And then now we're actually, as of 2015, we're at 18% delinquency. So we said, all right, fine. What is the number we should always keep in mind that will be a break even for us? And that number we came up with was 29%. If we stayed below 29%, therefore Fountain Crest will have enough money to pay their bills, assuming not a large increase in inflation or additional costs. But 29% is a good padding for us to actually keep the subdivision going relatively well. But we did say, hey, let's find out how much it is, what the delinquency needs to go down to be able to reduce the dues to $400. And that number is actually 12%. Okay. So we are far away from that. We've never hit 12% before. And if we ever want to have this discussion to reduce the dues, we have to first get to at least 12% to even have the discussion. So the reason why we're actually going through this is because there was a lot of comments and a lot of praise and a lot of heat put on us to actually make a decision that was one financially responsible for, each and every one of us, and also myself, because I am a homeowner. So, I just wanted to go through the details. Again, the PowerPoint presentation, the budget is public. All this information is available online. So if you ever want to actually, double check the data yourself, if I, potentially, if you said, if I make a mistake, but we're trying to be transparent, okay? So if, you hear a neighbor actually, come up to you and say, hey, they were supposed to reduce the dues, but now they actually raised it back. Please point them towards this presentation, or have us have them contact Rhonda to get an explanation instead of harsh comments. Okay. So that's any questions. Let me just check if there's any. By the way, the last time I checked, it was 5 live viewers. I want to thank you for joining. Let me check if there's any online questions. All right, there are no questions. If there's anything, I'll hand it back over to Arthur.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you all for sitting through that and understanding why we're having to make the decisions that we need to make. Okay, next, we'll talk about our committee updates. And Ms. Yvonne, speak on that.
In the past, we had several committees, and right at the present time, we need volunteers for our committees. As the weather gets warm, I'm sure everyone is going to want to do something on the exterior of their home. And I'm going to speak about the ARC committee, which you would submit a request, and the committee would come out and look at what the project that you have in mind, and either submit an approval or disapproval or recommendation. Right now, the board is the ARC committee. So anyone who is interested in volunteering, we welcome your income, and just let us know at the end of the meeting if you're interested in joining the ARC committee. The next committee is beautification. Again, as the weather gets warm, everybody's going to be out fixing up their lawn, prettying it up, and wanting theirs to be the best on the block. In the past, awards were given by the beautification committee, and everyone was happy when they got an award because of the efforts they made to make their home look presentable and nice and better and attractive, I should say. So we need a lead person. Miss Lubertha Trump was the lead person, however. Interested in the newsletter, by the way, is going to be digital. Anyone interested in being on that? I'm sure we have plenty of talents in our community, and we would welcome anyone who would like to do the newsletter. And we're going to have a new committee, and it's called the walking committee. Again, as the weather starts to get warm, everybody's going to be out walking, and we're going to provide more information about that as the weather gets warmer. But in order to keep fit, you want to walk, and you don't want to walk by yourself, we'll have a group that'll be walking. Neighborhood Watch. Apparently, the previous board had made connections with the Sheriff's Department regarding Neighborhood Watch, and we will be getting more information out about that. We're just making that connection, and we will be getting more information about that. If we have any questions, we certainly will try to answer. But as I said, we have plenty of folks in the area, and in order for us to, our community to be a successful and a beautiful community, we need volunteers for our committees. Oh, yes, we will have a sign-up sheet for anyone who wants to join the any of the committees. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, next, just want to talk briefly about some future projects. So I've already mentioned we're going to resurface the tennis court. Another project, I have to tell you about a friend of mine who just moved over to the community. We work together actually at Rockdale County, Mark Martin. So he's really one of those guys that just knows a lot, just, you know, has a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, and unfortunately, we didn't tap into that skill when he was there at Rockdale County. But as a friend, he's offered a lot of that knowledge for free, and I appreciate that. And he just moved into our community, so I'm gonna, you know, pick a lot of information from that to be helpful for our community. Those, if you at the fountain, those little those white medians, if you will, that keeps you from going the opposite direction. So I called in a favor from a person who was retired when I was working at the county. But Mark was actually a person who actually helped come out and put it on. A small world, I didn't even realize that. But one thing, me and Mark was talking one day, and he said, have you ever thought about doing, having an assessment done where people coming from Highway 20 north, coming down south, have you ever had an assessment done where we could just have a left turn lane only? So right now, we're currently going up to, if you will, Ralph Road. That's the best way for me to tell you. And we make that U-turn. Let me tell you, just today, somebody jumped out in front of me coming from Ralph Road. And I'm telling you, I'm in the church, so we're going to keep it clean. But I was very upset about that. It was some four-letter words, and it wasn't Mark or Luke or John. Okay? So I'm saying that, you know, whoever brilliant architect designed that, maybe they just thought Rockdale wasn't going to grow. But right now, it's a problem. And I think, as Mark mentioned it, there's enough clearway where we can see coming off that hill from Honey Creek, where you can make a left turn into our subdivision. Now, I'm not recommending, or I'm not saying when we leave out the subdivision where we can make a left. That's crazy. No. I'm talking about coming from Target, making a left into our community. So Mark has already told me the process of how we can get somebody out there. It doesn't cost us anything, so why not? So I wanted to, you know, I want anybody to take credit for Mark, but I appreciate him bringing this suggestion to me, so we're gonna definitely look at that. Speed calming mechanism for Reflection Creek. One of the things when we did our walk around last fall, a lot of people said, listen, we're back here on Reflection Creek, and it's the Audubon back here. Folks get back there and they go right into Sunny Creek, flying. All right, so again, I don't think Ryland was thinking that they were going to extend the community that far out. So they did, and they didn't build any of those speed calming islands. And so we're going to look at, see what kind of options that we can do. Again, we've got to work with the county and see what we can come up with. One of the things that I'm very proud of that, you know, I think me and Yolanda talked about this years ago is getting this community to be a POAA committee. What this means in short, I'm gonna let, you got it? Okay, good. So we're gonna let Rhonda just kind of give you like a little brief on what that is. It's really huge for our community because it gives us a little bit more leverage in the things that we want to do. And then after that, Rhonda's gonna go into her financial report, And then I got a few more things, and we got two special guests, and then we'll wrap up.
Good evening. My name is Rhonda Beasley. I know we only have a couple of new homeowners here, but I'm with Heritage Property Management, and I usually 9 times out of 10, usually 10 times out of 10, I'm here at the meetings, and I will be joining them online for their regular board meetings as well. I think it's an awesome job that Junior is doing. This is like probably the first community I have that does this. Probably other ones do, but I think it's an awesome thing to be able to have other folks, come online if they can't come to the meeting or they're sick or they can't get out, and they can go online. And so for all of you that are online, once again, I'm Rhonda Beasley with Heritage Property Management. So before I just go over the financial, what you have on the table, we'll go over that here in a second. But what they were talking about, the POAA, is Property Owners Association Act. And basically what that entails, normally when your property is developed and your covenants and bylaws are developed and they're recorded down at the county and the developer, starts this whole process, a lot of times unless he or the developer tells the attorneys to write these covenants under the POAA, they're normally written as a normal, just homeowners association, what they call it, homeowners association, property owned, homeowners association act. It's like your standard HOA. But what the POAA does for you in short, and you can Google it because I've Googled it. You can Google the reasons why a community should adopt the Georgia Property Owners Association Act, and it'll give you a whole litany, a list of things. Some of the things you're already able to do, but one of the things that's really a benefit is you automatically can file a statutory lien against somebody that's delinquent. What that means is instead of the association going out and assessing fees to the court to file liens, it's an automatic thing. So it actually saves your property some money in the long run with delinquencies and collections, because the attorneys don't have to go file the lien at the courthouse, and that does cost money to do that. So that's one of the main things that will benefit the association. The other thing is foreclosure laws and things like that, which I won't get into because that's a whole other conversation. But if you want to Google the reasons why a community should adopt the Georgia Property Owners Association Act, it'll give you the whole list. I believe Luter Law Firm and different law firms have their own lists online, but basically they're all the same. So it's a really good thing for your community. The attorney is drafting that right now, and hopefully here in the next couple of weeks we'll have that completed and filed with the Secretary of State's office. And then once you have that in place, then the community can come together, and if there are any amendments that the community wants to vote on for your documents, the community can get together and put their list of amendments together for the bylaws and covenants. In other words, you do have to have 2/3 majority to pass those amendments, but once you have all that together and you can get 2/3 vote, then you can pass a lot of good things. You can take out everywhere where it says declarant or builder. You can streamline your covenants and bylaws. You can increase your board to 5 or 9 members. You can kind of do what you want that's going to benefit your covenants and bylaws and kind of put some more meat into it, so to speak. So on your table is your financial breakdown, and basically the paperwork that you have here, just in short. The front one is just a breakdown of the numbers, and I give this every quarter. If you want it in between meetings, feel free to give me a call, and be glad to email any homeowner any monthly breakdown like this if you need it. But basically, the first report is the end of 2015 numbers, and I won't go over each line item, but basically you can go through there and see what your year-end totals were for 2015. And then the last two reports are the end of February 2016. So like when we have our meeting in May, I'll bring the end of April numbers with me at that time. So right now, as of today, in the reserve account, there's $107,370.98. In the operating account, you have $87,632.62. Excuse me. So you can see going down the line here. I do want to backtrack and just comment on the $500 per year. One thing that we learned as managers and attorneys, in fact, I just heard it in a class yesterday, you never want to go back. If you did ever go to $400, I mean, that would be great if we could get below that threshold of 12%. And I will have to say that where you're at, 18% is even really good, because a lot of homeowners associations experience anywhere from, and even you did before, anywhere from 25, 30, 35%. I've even had subdivisions in years past that were close to 40%. So you don't want to go back in time. And if you're looking at 7 or 8 years to spend $60,000 out of 107, that drops you to 40. And if you had, so you want to keep supplying your savings account just as we do for our home. We don't want to not have an emergency fund. So I think it's a good thing that they're doing. They're looking at the numbers, and I commend them for doing that. So does anybody have any questions for me? No? Okay, thank you.
For our online viewers, we want to let you know that that report we will actually have in the as an attachment on the Facebook page, so you'll be able to go out there and look at the documents that were here today. Real quickly, I passed out some index cards on there. One of the things that we want to do in our efforts in hearing from the community is we would like for you to put down your top 3 projects that you would like to see here in the community. It doesn't matter what you think, whether you think it's appropriate or not, just put it down. And what we want to do is if you could, before you go home, leave that with us, and we will put out there on Facebook and kind of publish that to you guys and let you all know what the percentage is, and maybe we can incorporate that in a project this year or later this year. So that's it for that. Now, what I like to do is, as a community, we also have some civic responsibilities. And one of the things that's very important is knowing what's happening in our community. And obviously, this is an election year. There's a lot of things that are happening, and that should be important because it affects our home, as homeowners. So my first guest is actually a friend, a frat brother. He's an attorney, a well-known attorney here. He's actually worked in this county for several years before he actually moved here in the county. He treats this county like it's been home the whole time he's been here. And just recently, we talked about this many years ago. He's part of Leadership Rockdale in my class, 2009. And we often sat back and talked, and he said, one day I'd like to run for a position here in the county just to help make a difference. And lo and behold, the opportunity came, and we had Commissioner Oz Nesbitt at our last meeting, and he's running for chairman, so that left his post 1 position open. And I couldn't find a better individual who could come in and actually feel that a caring person about the community, a loving person, a loving family man, a good person, to a Marley.
Thank you, Arthur. After that introduction, I almost feel like I don't need to say much.
but Arthur's been a good friend. I think one of our joint experience together at Leadership Rockdale really sort of helped us understand our place in this community. So it took me from a non-resident who only had a company here or a job here. It made me more passionate about what we do here in the community because we were exposed to different things like the school system, like the departments that we visited, even going down to the Capitol. So it was very important for that. I don't want to take up much of your time because I know following me is the sheriff, and I know we have a whole lot of questions for the sheriff, so I want to make sure I give him enough time to talk. But I just want to just share with you, and I'll give you my website as well because there's probably more detail than I can really share with you in these few short minutes. So I want you to take a look at that and see really my background, some of the things that I've been doing prior to even moving here that really show my commitment to this community. That website is barlayforrockdale.com. So it's BARLAY for rockdale.com. barlayforrockdale.com. And that'll give you at least a better opportunity. But no, I wanted to share with you what my passion for this community is. We really start to work. I've had a bit of background, as Arthur mentioned. I've been chairman of our local chamber. That was a great experience. I've also been president of one of our civic groups here in the community. And what I wanted to do in each of those leadership positions is not simply just lead or motivate people, but to actually be impactful, to make things happen here. As chairman, one of the things that I prided myself in doing was gathering individuals from our 6 major entities. So the city, the county, the school system, the economic development, water and sewer, and the chamber. And we took these 30 individuals to a center so that we could learn how to plan for our future. And one of the things that we did, we basically played games during this process, but the games were real because we understand that this community that is ours is going to grow. And the question is, how do we manage that growth? Where do we place additional people that may move into this community? And so that derived to a place where we then got individuals together, our leaders together, and they meet on a monthly basis from that, the genesis of that meeting, and they meet on a daily basis to talk amongst themselves and to determine how that future would look like. And from there, we determined that our campaign theme was going to be see our future to be our future. Because we have to be intentional about the future that we want to leave not only to our kids, but to the people that come after us. And there are 3 main features of that. That's economic development, it's jobs. We have to start being more intentional about the industries and the jobs that we bring here. It's easy for me to stand up here and tell you, well, I'm going to bring jobs, but it's more important to tell you we have to be specific about those type of jobs. We have to do an analysis of our current industry, our current structure. We are the 2nd smallest county in the state and the smallest in the metro Atlanta area. So there are industries that probably won't come to our community, and that may be a good thing. At this point, we're really setting the bar low. So basically, any company that comes here and says, I'm going to give you 25 jobs and make $1 million investment, we throw out the red flag and say that's a success story. But I think what we need to do is revisit that and say, hey, we want to be specific about what comes here. Because we have our residents where 60 to 70% in the safety aspect. A few months ago, a group of concerned citizens got together and we started this initiative. It's a community policing code enforcement initiative where we determined based on an employee, a former police officer that used this in a different community. He said that they got our residents engaged about making sure that the environment was not conducive to criminal activity. They did a simple test. If you go to a community, for instance, and the criminals will spray paint on the stop sign, and they will wait to see the response. And those communities that take weeks to have that spray paint moved from that stop sign are communities that the criminals feel are conducive to their environment. If you go up to Alpharetta now and spray paint on a stop sign, trust me, it will be removed in a day or 2. And so what we are trying to do is get residents engaged, making sure that they are more aware about their surroundings, their environments, so that when we have that situation here, we avoid those things, so that the sheriff, the police chief, that their jobs are easier when it comes to fighting crime. But those are some of the things that we as professionals can really focus on. And then the last thing is our education. Again, it's important that we become engaged in the education of our kids. One of the organizations I was a part of, we did supply books to Early Learning Center here in Rockville at the RCA. To those families who did not have the opportunity to be able to read to their children, we supplied books once a month. And what that turned out doing is those kids that were 0 to 5 years old, when they got into kindergarten and 3rd grade, they exceeded their counterparts, their peers in every single benchmark because of the simple fact that they got books early on in their child's lives. So it's really the simple things, but it's the opportunity to really come together and determine that this is a community that we want to thrive. And so there are things that we can do to help, and that's really why I joined this campaign. I started this campaign for Post 1, is because I saw all of these things occurring. I had the opportunity to serve in different organizations that dealt with these things, and so that was key to me. And again, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I wanted to at least share with you that message. Please visit the website. If obviously we need some support and some help, so if that's you're choosing, definitely do that. I do have some cards as well that I can leave with you. If you have any questions at all, feel free to give me a call. But thank you again, Arthur, and thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity to talk to you today.
Thank you, Tua. Our next guest really doesn't need no introduction. He has got the most famous name in the state of Georgia, last name. I met him as a deputy. You're talking about elevation, elevating a person, moving from a deputy to the sheriff. And he's just a great man, great spirit, family, come from a great family. You can get in trouble and meet him down in the jail, or you can be a part of some foolishness, and his brother, his uncle will take you under. So either way, a levy can get a hold to you. So without further ado, the greatest man here, the most powerful man in Rockdale County, Sheriff Levy.
Well, good evening. I know it's late, so hopefully I won't hold you long. Again, I'm Eric Levitt, your Rockdale Sheriff. And thank you so much for inviting me out, and also for the online listeners. I think that's a neat idea that you all have the online listeners, online component to engage with the community for those who are unable to attend. One of the things that I was doing a few years ago was hosting town hall meetings, and you don't have a large turnout to come out to town hall meetings, so I came up with another idea. And I said, well, let's do a virtual town hall meeting, and you would not believe it. There was 3 of us. There was 3 individuals I had in the conference room with 3 computers. We could not keep up because it was such a large hit. So that is definitely a great idea that this is the first time I've ever seen a subdivision engage in such a neat thing, and that's one of the good ways of being transparent. Well, let me say a couple of things. Again, I've been in law enforcement for about 23 years, and Arthur is right. I'm a faithful Christian man. I am married, been married for 19 years, be 20 years in a couple of months in May. We have 2 boys, so I'm telling you all that for a reason. My boys are in the Rockdale County Public Schools, so here's the reason why I'm telling you that. My family live here, most of them, a majority of them live here, so I have stake in this county. I believe in this county, and this county is safe. And I'm going to tell you why it's safe, so I don't want you to get caught up in myth that is going around that crime is on the rise here and so forth and so on, because that's absolutely not exactly the case. Our numbers don't lie. We have to report our numbers to the FBI. So we don't report false numbers because the numbers that we receive are reports of our citizens or people that are visiting our county reporting crime. And so, just tell you a little bit about the sheriff's office. We sit on about 36 acres. I have approximately 307 employees. That includes civilian and school crossing guard. I have now hired a new chief deputy, which is Chief Moses Little. He was going to be here tonight, but he had another obligation. He needs to be here, so hopefully he'll be out. Have an opportunity to meet him. I want to give you a little bit of information about some of the things that we do in our offering. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about the crime stats. There's always a concern about crime. One of the things that you can do is to go to crime reports. We are a part of this software, but it's crimereports.com. Any county that is a part of this software, you can review their crime. You can review the crime in the county. It'll tell you about the burglaries, where the burglaries are occurring at, how close it is to your area, meaning your subdivision, armed robbery, thefts, and so forth and so on. It won't give you a whole lot of details, such as the information that they give us. We can click on it and tell you a little bit more details. It won't provide you all with that, but it'll definitely tell you that, you've had this many burglaries in this area, this many auto thefts, robberies, and so forth and so on. You can also go to our website. Of course, it's rockdalesheriff.com. We're up trying to change our website. It's kind of under construction, but it's still live. We put a lot of information on there. We're trying to make it better. One of the tabs that I'm trying to add on that website is an app that you can download on your phone. It's called Code Red. Code Red, some of you may have it already. Some of you may receive a phone call from our dispatch center where we launch Code Red. We will launch that call to you if we're having a chase in area, or if we have a burglary in progress where we have a perimeter set up where the suspects are on the ground. We have a perimeter set up where they may be armed. If you download that Code Red on your phone, your email, and we launch that Code Red, it will call you. It will notify you, letting you know that there's a high presence of deputies in the area. We're looking for a suspect that just committed a crime of blah, 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 and give you the description and so forth and so on. Some of the things that we're trying to fix in that is, every now and again, we'll drop the ball where, we need to relaunch it to let you know the status of that situation. We just had that situation about 2.5 weeks ago when we launched Code Red, and I remember to call the commander in charge. I believe I called the commander in charge, or I may have called the dispatch center and asked them, did you call our residents back, the same residents that you contacted back, and let them know that we have lifted the BOLO and that we've caught two of 4 of the suspects. And it didn't take us but another day or 2 to catch the other 2. And so, if you can, please try to download that app, and again, you can register any phone number, your cell phone, your home phone, you can register your email, and it will notify all of those things. We're working on another component of Code Red, and I'll have my law enforcement coordinator, also PIO guy, to come and tell you a little bit about what he's working on that, so that we can be even more transparent to the citizens of Rockdale County. Now, we have a Vice and Narcotics Division. Our Vice and Narcotics Division is under the command of a sergeant. We have 3 investigators, Rockdale Sheriff's Office investigators, and 1 Conyers Police Department investigator that is assigned to that unit. I also have a DEA, an investigator of mine that is also assigned to the DEA, which gives you a total of 5 Vice and Narcotics investigators. That unit is under the commander of a captain, which is under our Criminal Investigation Bureau. If you are experiencing or see any type of drug activity, prostitution, anything that requires us to do some type of sting or undercover operation on, our Vice and Narcotics Division is the division that you can contact. Just contact the main number and ask them to transfer you to Vice and Narcotics, and you can speak to the sergeant in charge there, that you can report the crime and all the information that he may need in order to begin some undercover work on that. I have a crime analysis. I created a crime analysis division. Our crime analysis is under the command of a corporal and 4 investigators. Those 4 investigators consist of I have an investigator assigned to the Marshals Unit, which will handles a particular district, including Rockdale County, to capture those hardcore criminals that are wanted. And one of the reasons why I did that is because if we have any in Rockdale County, I want them out. I want them in custody. I want them in jail. I mean, so and that is another way of us monitoring what is going on in certain parts of the world and of our state, is when we know when those hardcore criminals are crossing over in that particular district, especially in the county. I want to know if they're in our county because I want them out. And so they are to report that to me. I have an investigator that's assigned to sex crime, one gang investigator, one fugitive investigator, which gives you a total of 4 investigators under that corporal. That corporal is also responsible in monitoring the crime for the entire county. He will monitor that crime. He will put out on the computers in our patrol cars where we have an increase of crime. He would also send that information over to our task force division, which is under the command of a lieutenant. I have 2 task force divisions that I created. Those task force deputies are mostly in marked patrol cars in uniform. However, they also have the responsibility to get in unmarked vehicles dressed like you and like y'all now, and they go in those areas and patrol to attempt to capture individuals that are committing crimes in progress. They may pull out on individuals that they deem to be suspicious, and so forth and so on. In that unit is a traffic division, which are deputies that run radar and or laser in our county to reduce the speeding in our county. Now, I want to give you a little tidbit of information. Not only that I am a hardcore crime fighter, I believe in fighting crime, I believe in keeping this community safe, doing the best that we can do in order to reduce crime, and I think that we've done that over the last 3 years that I've been sheriff. I've compared my stats with the last administration, and over the last 3 years, I've reduced crime almost 30%, 29-point-something%. And so my crime is lower if you go back and compare it. We went and compared it 5 years, from 2011 up until now. I'm proud of the work that the men and women are doing. They know my vision. They know my mission. They know I am a hardcore crime fighter. They know that I want to know where we have an increase in crime, what they're doing about it, how they're doing it, and to bring some results. And they have done that, and they're doing a good job of that. Real quick, just to let you know how they're doing. I'll go back 2011, our clearance rate was 33.3%. In 2012, it was 34.5%. I took office in 2013, it was 59.0%. In 2014, 66.7%. And in 2015, it was 50%. And I can't take that credit. I give that credit to the men and women that are out here patrolling every day, that again is carrying out the vision and mission that I've asked them to carry out, and that is to do all that they can do to keep our community safe. I am emphasizing that a lot because I want you to understand there are people out here talking about Rockdale County that crime is going up, and I want you to understand you as a community is allowing that to happen because we don't have the facts, and that's not the fact. What is the facts is we can't stop crime and would never be able to stop crime. I only know one person, and I'm not trying to get religious here, I only know one person that can stop crime, and we're not him. But we would do all that we can to reduce it, and I think that they've done a great job. When I say they, I'm talking about the men and women that wear this badge each and every day. And I'm proud of them. We're going to continue to do that and continue to fight the crime. Now, I don't know if I gave you these numbers. Did I give you the numbers of the overall reduction of crime for 3 years? Did I tell you it was 20? That was 20, which is 29-point-something%, almost 30%. We're looking to reduce that even more in Rockdale County. We want to send that message to these criminals that Rockdale County is not the place to commit crime. I'm actually looking at putting up a billboard. If I do that, please understand and believe then I won't do it because it's the election season. If your mind is made up on what candidate you want, your mind is made up. But until then, I'm gonna continue to fight crime. And I want these criminals to know, when I put that billboard up, it's gonna say something on the lines of, criminals are not welcome in Rockdale County. And so when you see that, no, it's not a political move, absolutely not. It's a move because I want the criminals to know. Most of the criminals that come in, that are committed in our county are not even individuals that live in our county. They're individuals that cross over in our county, commit crimes, and leave. But I can guarantee you, most of the time, they won't be on the loose long, because I just gave you the clearance rate. So we do a great job in doing that. We have a cops division. I heard someone mention neighborhood watch program, and you will want to connect back with the neighborhood watch program. Our cops division is up under the command of a lieutenant, which is Lieutenant Dexter Harris. He's standing to my left here. If you want any statistics when it comes to crime or what's going on in your neighborhood, what crimes are going on in your neighborhood, you can contact the cops division, Lieutenant Harris. He will either contact you back or he'll assign someone to call you and give you the information that you need. I would strongly encourage you to invite a deputy out every time you have a homeowners association. He will send someone out, and we will sit and wait just like we are now and provide the statistics for you and answer any questions that you may have. Under his command is school resource officer. He's also in charge of all of the school resource officers, the deputies who also teach grade and champs. So if you have any concerns or questions about the school resource officer, that's under his command as well. I want to make sure that you understand that we have a Citizen Academy, about 2 or 3 classes a year. I strongly encourage you to try to sign up. It's free. I think it's once a week on a Monday or a Tuesday. It starts around 6 or 7 o'clock. Only lasts a couple hours and kind of give you the fundamentals of the day-to-day work that we do. You have an opportunity to ask questions. You can ride along, it'll allow you to ride along with deputies, to see the jail, to learn about the jail operations, support security operations, certain laws, guns, and so forth and so on. We want to make sure that our citizens is educated as to what we do every day and why we do the things that we do. And that is an opportunity to ask those tough questions. Why does law enforcement do this? Why do they do that? And that instructor will answer those questions. We offer citizen gun safety classes on a Saturday. We offer that about 3 times a year. It's free of charge. If you own a gun or are thinking about buying a gun, if you decide to purchase that gun, you can contact our office, and we will put you through a gun safety class on a Saturday. We have our own gun range on that property behind the sheriff's office, and we will take you on the range and allow you to shoot that gun and teach you how to shoot the gun. But you will go through I think that's an 8-hour class. You will go through a classroom portion first, where the instructor is teaching you the laws as to when you can shoot, when you can't shoot, and other safety measures when it comes to the gun. They'll tell you how to clean it, teach you how to clean it, and anything else that you may want to know about the gun. And that's free of charge as well. In your neighborhood for 2015, you had about 6 entered autos, 6 thefts, 1 burglary, 1 strong arm robbery, which was a cell phone snatch, and 1 vehicle theft. So I think overall you all are doing pretty good for 339 homes, and we hope that that number will reduce even more for 2016. Let's see. That's really all I have right now. I'll be more than happy to take any questions that you have. I heard Tula mention something about gang graffiti. One of the responsibilities that we are just like Alpharetta, in other words, one of the responsibilities that my gang investigator is supposed to do is to go around and clean up graffiti. He can get inmates to go with him, and they will clean up the graffiti. We have a trailer, one of those box closed-in trailers that is full of chemicals specifically for gang graffiti paintings and so forth and so on to clean it up. So if you see any of that around Rockdale County, please report that to us and we'll go clean it up. That's part of his job. He's doing a great job when it comes to games. He has a good rapport with gang members. Believe it or not, they tell him stuff that you would not believe. He keep them, of course, anonymous, but he identified gang members and all type of stuff he's doing with that position. So to make the commissioner's job easy, we need your help. We can't do it alone. When you see suspicious activity in your subdivision, call us. Don't think it's not suspicion. I'd rather for you to call us than not call us. If you don't know the non-emergency number, call the emergency number. They will say, can I get you to call the non-emergency number? Here's the number. But more importantly, make the call and make it kind of quick. Be that nosy neighbor. There's no such thing as no nosy neighbor. You need to be a nosy neighbor and report this crime. You can also contact our dispatch center when you go out of town and ask for an out-of-town check. What that means is they will log you in the computer, letting us know that you are going out of town for a certain amount of time. They'll put the dates in there. They're going to ask you who is an emergency contact person. That way, if the deputy's driving by, they see a car in your yard, they're going to pull out on that person. And if it's not someone that you listed to be at your residence, they're going to call that person or call you and let you know that they have contact with someone or they're supposed to be here. They're going to want to know who's coming by to check your mail and your dogs or your house in general. Make sure you leave all that information. What happens, we have a particular tab on our computers in the cars where the lookouts go. And our deputies are to check that every day. And they'll look at that lookout and they'll tell them that we have a residence check or an out-of-town check at this residence. And it ends on this date around this time. So there's a lot of little things that we do that a lot of our citizens don't know. But know one thing, that we're going to continue to work hard to make you safe and keep you safe. If there's anything that I or the Sheriff's Office can do, please don't hesitate to call us or email us. If it takes us a couple of days to return the call, please don't get impatient, or just call us, back again and let us know that you're still awaiting a call, or email us, because our emails come in our phones, and we'll try to respond to you pretty quick. Again, that's Lieutenant Harris for Cops Division. In the back is one of our investigators. He's here in case you have some questions. Investigator Moon. He is a veteran investigator. We kind of stole from Henry County Police Department. And we have our new law enforcement coordinator. If you can stand, please, sir, which is Michael Myers. You may have seen him on TV. He also handles a lot of our public information for the media. He is coordinating a lot of programs. I think we're going to be excited with some of the ideas that he is creating, that he has in that bank up here, that he's going to introduce to our community to help our community. So we welcome him aboard for that. Again, if you can't reach me, you can always reach him, and he can get things done for you as well, probably quicker. But again, I am available. Just understand that it's almost 90,000 residents in Rockdale County, 370 employees, and I don't respond quickly, but I will respond to you. All right, I'm going to stop right there. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, good evening, Sheriff. I'm just going to applaud your crime fighting efforts.
Thank you.
I have two concerns, and they're more quality of life issues.
Okay.
We can have a proliferation of ad signs at the entrance and exit ramps to the highway, as well as along Georgia 20. And I know that this is something that the Sheriff's Department is responsible for, and I just want to know what's being done.
Actually, we're not responsible for that. Okay. One of our residents here is concerned about signs that are at the entrances of the exit ramp, which looks horrible. She wants to know what is it that basically can be done about it, and said that she felt that the Sheriff's Office was responsible for that. Actually, code enforcement is responsible for that, and they actually drive around the county and pick those signs up. I would again encourage you to contact code enforcement and report those signs. Technically, you know, can we go around and pick those signs up? We probably can go around and pick those signs up, but that's not our responsibility. We don't like it, but I will tell you this, and when I say, I'm not sure if I would, you know, want my deputies, you know, in their patrol cars picking it up, but what I will tell you is, and I want to say I believe because I don't know this for sure, and I don't want to mislead you or tell you a lie, but we do have 2 work detail crews, because this is another myth that is going around the county. No, you don't see our inmates cutting the grass on Georgia 20 South anymore. There's a reason why. There was a slight little battle between the commissioner's office and one particular residence here, and they did not really like for us to cut that grass because it was a responsibility of the state, and they wanted the state to assume their responsibilities, basically, in a nutshell. And so the state basically has contracted that work, and that's why you see this company, they come out and cut the grass. Now, do they do a great job of it? Absolutely not, but they cut it. They don't do a great job in weeding and so forth and so on. So, and it's been disturbing me because I travel that way going home, and I'm actually thinking about just telling one of my work detail crews to go out there and help them and clean up a little better. So you may see that coming here in the future. But those work details can pick up signs, and I will check with him to see are they doing that, and maybe he doesn't know, but I will ask him to add that to some of his responsibilities, because those signs are not supposed to be out. When we are campaigning, we have to abide by the sign. There is an ordinance on signs. We have to abide by, and people that are sticking those signs just in and everywhere should abide by it too. But I will tell you that I do see code enforcement go around and picking those signs up.
My second question is, we have 5 mattress firm locations in China, and there is no foot traffic to justify 5 locations. So my experience tells me that there's something.
There's a lot of people sleeping.
Well, they're not using Mattress Firm's product. So my concern is that it's pretty much a front for something other than the sale of mattresses. Because we have, like I said, there are 2 on Dogwood, 1 opposite Walmart, 1 on the side of Walmart. Then you have 2 on 20. They just opened up. And then there's 1 further down by Panda Express. So that's 5 locations. And there's 2 at Stonecrest. That's 7 mattress firms. Is anybody looking into that?
Yes, the question is, there's 5 mattress firm locations in Rockdale County, and the concern is, it appears that, you know, the mattress firm is putting a front of businesses in Rockdale County, which are really kind of close in proximity, and there's not a whole lot of foot traffic at all coming in and out of mattress firm. And so there's a concern, is there anything basically going on that we need to know about, or there's anything that we're doing? Well, it's funny that you should ask that question, because I was sitting in a meeting and we were talking about economic development came up. And I asked the group, I said, can anybody tell me why do we have so many mattress firms? And who is doing that much sleeping? Because I want to get with them and find out how I can get that much sleep. But there is not a whole lot of traffic coming in out there. And I can tell you that someone told me that mattress firms, supposedly an employee stated that if they sell 1 mattress a month, it's enough to keep the doors open. Now, I have never, out of my 3 years so far as sheriff, but out of my years being with the sheriff's office since mattress firm has been here, has ever received a report of any illegal crime. However, I will go back and ask my vice and narcotics folks, have they ever received a report of any illegal activity going on with mattress firm? But now, if you, and I don't remember if I have your information, but if you, did Michael just give you a card?
Yeah.
If you would email him that question, I would check with my criminal investigation bureau and my vice and narcotics, and I will also check with Conyers, because the good news is all of the businesses are in Conyers jurisdiction, and I don't have to deal with it. However, the city of Conyers in the county, so I do technically have to do it because
So
I
I
have
was gonna
jurisdiction.
contact the FBI because it just, the only vehicles that I see at those locations are the sales clerk. That's the only car that I see when I pass by.
Right, so her response is, to the online viewers, is the only vehicle that she see at the mattress firm or the sale clerks. And you're right, I ride through, I think it's Conyers Crossing, Conyers Square, the shopping center over where Belk and where that other mattress firm is, and I don't ever see a customer in there. But again, I don't know if they're doing a lot of call-ins or ordering, or are we just missing the customers when we go through there? Or, but you know, the mattresses are either really high and they're selling a mattress a month and keep those doors. I don't know what's going on, but okay. 206 on the Chamber of Commerce, maybe he can answer that.
Just real quick, and two good questions, actually. The first question about the signage, just be aware, as the sheriff said, that it is code enforcement and not necessarily the sheriff that removes the signage. Both the city of Conyers and Rockdale County have different sign ordinances. I know both of them in that particular area, most of the entryways into the county are in the city limits. And I know the city has done a good job trying to enforce the signage. But I know for a fact there's only 3 code enforcement officials working in the city and 3 at the county. So again, it's a matter of just getting them the opportunity to go around and pick those signs up. But definitely feel free if it's in the county, either way, just contact them and they should be able to come around and get those things taken care of. On the mattress firm, you're not the first person to ask that question. I think we've asked this multiple times. The answer that I get, somewhat legitimate, is that apparently they're owned by the same person. And what that person is doing is trying to predict the future pattern of mattresses. So what they've done is they've located, and I'm talking specifically about the one south of I-20 and the one north of I-20. And so what they've done is they tried to predict, because there's some construction going on I-20 and in the underpass, and what they're trying to do is predict which of those locations would have the busiest foot traffic in the future. So apparently that person must have more money than I do, because what they went ahead and did was opened up, they saw an opportunity and they went up and opened up 2 locations to sort of predict that. I suspect in the future, once the construction has been finalized, you will see one of those locations close. Again, as the sheriff mentioned, it isn't, when I last bought the bed, it was quite expensive, so I will understand if that bed or the mattress, excuse me, not the frame, just the mattress, was a little expensive, so I can understand if that does keep the doors open. But again, 2 good questions.
That may explain why you don't see a lot of traffic, because attorneys, big time folks are the only ones that are visiting those places.
About 10 years ago, last time I saw it.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Just a comment. I want to thank you for your service. We appreciate it. And every time we interact with you over the past years, the spirit and tone has always been so positive. I've met you in election meetings and it's just always the same. And my word that I share with others is my
Thank you. He was responding, basically saying that he thanked us for our service and me being able to fight. And this experience that we've generated, I've generated with the community and with him. Thank you for your response. Are you the gentleman that I met in Burlington? Burlington Coat Factory?
Yes.
I owe you all a visit. I got sick that day that I was supposed to bring my wife and my boys out to the subdivision. And I will say this, my response to the reason why the angels remained at the entrance of your subdivision is because somebody was scared that sheriff's office wanted to get them if they stole it, because we would have found them. Yes, sir.
Just a brief comment that you made earlier, and I found it to be very unique. Being out of a large city, New York, I got that call about the apprehension of two individuals, and you were in the process of capturing the other two. And I thought that was very unique. And then it came back on to say that it was safe now to continue. I thought that was very, very unique. This is a first for me. And it came over the phone. Initially, I thought it was just I said somebody wanted to sell me something. That was my first impression. But it was about, there was a crime being committed, a break-in, a burglary, and they would be on the lookout. And then there were two individuals apprehended, and the other two would be caught shortly, and what happened. So I thought that's very innovative, unique. And I guess maybe being part of the city, you don't do those type of things.
Well, for the online listeners, the viewers, the gentleman resident was saying that he received a code red call and he thought it was very unique to have such an innovative product to make a phone call. He first thought it was a prank call, and he decided to answer it. It was a call from Code Red letting him know what was going on, and then receiving a second call saying that it was safe. And I want to respond to that. I don't want to be sexist when I say this, but one of the reasons I'm hard on making that second phone call to let you know the status, whether we call them or not call them, is because I don't want our females and our ladies and our daughters to be afraid to walk outside alone if the husband or male, or if they're single, is not in the home or not around, and to be cautious if they receive that call. If we did not apprehend the others, to be cautious as they walk outside and not just walk out there routinely and not so alert. And so, and if you don't receive that call, I want you to just assume that they're not apprehended, and so you will continue to be alert. So we're working. It is a work in progress. We will continue to keep working. If you receive those calls, to make the second call, let you know the status. But we want you to feel safe when you're walking outside of your residence. Anyone else? Again, thank you. If I can just make a comment, Tu is a good guy. We're in Rotary. Maybe we can invite the mattress firm owner to Rotary to talk to us about his company, and hopefully we can get some answers back to you all, because I'm curious about that as well. Like you say, they must have a lot more money than us, and we have a lot of good candidates for the post one position. It's going to be hard for me, but I thank him for stepping up to the plate and running for office, because he is a good guy. And I sat next to him and we talked and we cut up, and I've seen his work in the school. He's very, very passionate about the school system. In fact, when he was the president of the Rotary Club that we're in, when he had speakers come over, he would give the speaker a book to donate to the school system. So again, he's a good gentleman, and again, everyone else is good. You have a lot of choices. You have a lot of people getting in the race, in the sheriff race. I can tell you, I'm not saying this in an arrogant way. I am a proven leader. I've proven myself when it comes to crime. I'm going to continue to fight crime. I'm not going to let the elections distract me. So know that I'm not here for political reasons. I'm here because I go to every homeowners association meeting that I can go to if I'm in town, and I'm obligated to be there. Where my wife she's given me permission to be out of the home late at night to go to these homeowners association meetings. So she shares me with everyone, and so he can tell you that I go to all of them. I've been going to them since 2013. So I'm not just coming here for to earn your vote. I hope I can earn it. Because I'm the best candidate in that particular race. But I'm going to continue to prove myself until we hear those results. And again, if my office can do anything for you, please don't hesitate to call us. And if you want some facts, if you want some truth, if you want to clear up some information, call us and ask us. We'll tell you. If I've done it, if I'm guilty of it, I'm going to tell you, hey, I have egg in my face. We screwed up. We dropped the ball. We're going to correct it. All right. Thank you.
Well, with those cards, if you all fill out any of those cards, like I mentioned earlier, just write, the projects there that you all like to see here in the community. leave them with us up front. The sheriff is gonna hang around. Tua is going to hang around if anybody has any questions, to ask them directly. First of all, I just want to thank you all for your time. I know we ran over. Our goal is to always, our goal this year is to try to do an hour and a half, to be out by 8:30. But tonight we had some, some great information. We started a little late because I know the rain kind of kept us back. So, we're going to emphasize each meeting, every meeting, that we're going to start on time. So whether the rain or not, we're going to start at 7 o'clock, and we're going to really try to focus in. Any questions or concerns?
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
For law enforcement.
Yes. Oh, for law enforcement?
The Citizen Academy, what is the minimum age?
18.
Okay.
And the question for the online viewer, when our homeowners asked, what was the age for the Citizens Camp, which is 18 years old. Okay, we have our sign-up list up here for any of the committees. For any of our online viewers, send us a message. Let Rhonda know. Send a message on Facebook or whatever. We'll get that information. We appreciate it. If all hearts and minds are clear, I bid you all a safe and good night. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything. Good night.